Celtics defense do that made things so difficult for you guys to score?
They were physical a lot. They have great defenders.
And were they just it was not more one-on-one or help or closing out?
Just everything. They're a great team. That's what they do.
There's a quick turnaround time before the Olympic qualifying tournament. What do you?
I don't want to talk about what's next, man. I have some decisions to make. Just trying to get a little bit healthier. We'll talk. We have interviews in 2 days, right? So I'll give you an answer then.
Any other questions? Steve, right behind you.
Steve Ashburn, NBA.com. Luka, what do you take away from this that will help your team get back here next year, ideally, and win it next time? Is there any particular takeaways from being in the finals?
Right now, I don't really know. It's not what I'm thinking, but they're a great team. They've been together for a long time, and they had to go through everything. So we just got to look at them. See how they play, maturity, and they have some great players. We can all learn from that, and we got to fight next season.
Mike in the front.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Luke, I saw you and Kyrie had a moment of embrace there at the end of the game. Just interested, what can you share about the conversations you guys had?
Just stay together, man. I think just having Kai on my team, on our team, is unbelievable. Just helping. We said we'll fight together next season, and we're just gonna believe.
Any other questions? Thanks, Luke.
Josh, was there anything in particular the Celtics were doing on the defensive end that prevented you guys from being able to score a lot of points tonight?
I mean, they came out aggressive, man, and they were good defensively. They're a great defensive team. Respect to them and respect to the coaches for their defensive scheme.
Now that the season is over, what was your take from what you guys were able to accomplish this season?
I mean, it's been a hell of a year, and I love these guys, man. Like, I mean, we put this team, with trades and everything was 5 months ago, and to see the growth as a team, and like, it's different, like, I don't know, there's a lot of international guys, and we don't always have family around, and to be able to build a bond like this and to call the team, family, it's awesome, and to be able to do that in such a short amount of time is it's amazing. So I mean, obviously we didn't get what we wanted, but I'm proud, and everyone else is very proud of the team.
Second row on the left, Tim.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. I know this is a hard question to ask right after disappointment, but is, kind of going off what you just said, is this the most fun season that you've been a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's fun when everything, I mean, it's 1 through 15, man, like, I couldn't, best teammates, man, like, all great guys in all their individual ways, so, I mean, by far, man, it's always makes your job a lot better when you have fun every day, and to call those guys my teammate, for sure.
First row, Brad.
Yeah, Josh, Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News. You see the Celtics, they've incrementally, I mean, they've grown, been to this step, and they finally got over the hump. You guys have been in the conference finals 2 years ago, now the NBA finals. What do you think your takeaway will be, from this final, having gotten to this higher stage?
I mean, I think, we got here, and I think everyone's hungry now. It's obviously we didn't get where we wanted to, but it's not the end of the world. We know that we need to regroup and be back here again next year. I mean, it's a goal every single year, and
First row in the middle.
Hi, Josh. Joey Mastretta with Clutch Points. Obviously it's expected, the Celtics are gonna, chant Kyrie sucks, that kind of thing. When you guys hear that, just kind of what's the message from J. Kidd and Kyrie in the huddle, and how did you feel a need to respond to that on the court?
I mean, Kyrie does a great job, and he's done a great job from the moment he's got here of being a leader and and being someone, for younger guys, but also, for everyone on the team. So, I mean, obviously it is what it is. The crowds can chant, whatever they want to chant. When we're away, they're obviously going to go against us. So, I mean, he does a great job of, not letting it affect him. And I think that goes back to his, leadership on and off the court. So we have nothing but respect for Kyrie, and, we're not expecting the Celtics to be with us, we're opposing them. So whatever they say is whatever they say. But we all got his back for sure.
Third row on the left, Steve.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. What's something that, as you look at the series, your team might have been able to do better or more consistently to extend it, maybe even swing it?
Just physicality, coming out a little, stronger or whatnot. But I don't know. I really haven't thought about it too much. I don't know. My head's all over the place right now.
First row on the right, Mike.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. You had your best game of the playoffs tonight. And obviously, it's been an up and down season, but when you look at the development that you've made since the start, just how do you kind of reflect on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to, leave it all on the floor tonight. I try to play every game like it's my last, but I mean, it's what individual. Like, it doesn't really matter at this stage. I mean, I really just want to win, and I don't know. I just didn't win.
Any other questions for Josh? Thank you.
Did you get the sense that it was the Celtics' time? I mean, they were together for 7 years, and they kind of what you will want to keep building toward with this predominantly young group.
Yeah, I think when you look at their journey for 7 years, there's been ups, there's been learning, experiences for them with winning and losing. And so understanding for us, we've been together for 5 months, some of us. So this is, a really, positive journey that we've been on here. And we'll look at what we can do as we get to the finals, just understanding we have to play our best basketball. Unfortunately, Boston was better than us in this series, and they won the championship.
Middle, Dwayne.
Dwayne Price, Maps.com. Jason, was there anything in particular that the Celtics did on the defensive end to slow down your offense?
Yeah, we had some great looks there that just didn't go down for us. Kai has a layup that rims in and out. PJ had great looks, just wasn't our night, offensively.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Jason, when you look at what needs to happen for you guys to be able to get over that last hurdle, what are things that stand out to you as far as how you can get to that, take that next step?
Well, I think the first step was just to be in it. I think that's a big thing. A lot of us, when I say a lot of us, excluding the people in the locker room, didn't have us here. And so to be able to start the playoffs in L.A., to start the playoffs in Oklahoma, to start the playoffs in Minnesota, to understand that that's not easy to do. And I thought the group did a great job. Yes, we lost 4-1, but I thought the group fought against the Celtics, and just unfortunately we just couldn't make shots when we had to, or we turned the ball over, and they took full advantage of that. And so there's a lot of positives in this run that we were on during the playoffs, but also since March we've been playing basketball at a high level. So when we go back to look at some of the stuff, what we can continue to build on and what we can get better at.
First row on the right, Brad.
Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News. Speaking of building, you've talked about building a culture here in 3 years, conference finals, NBA finals. What would you say kind of the biggest, the most important pillars that you feel like you have put in so far?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. First year we lose to Golden State, who becomes the world champs. And then we lose this year to the world champs in the Boston Celtics. So not a bad run in 2 out of 3 years. And so in between those 2 years, we get D-Live and some, we get trades that makes the team better. So a lot of positive things. We're a young team. And so this isn't a team when you look at, do we have to replace some of the older players? It's, we have a core, a young core at that. And so this is an exciting time to be a Mavs fan and to also be a coach for the Mavs.
Second row, Tim.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. Jason, obviously Luka dealt with a lot of injuries throughout this postseason run. What can he learn from this?
Well, he's one of the best players in the world. And so I think the biggest thing for him is that we all, would like to be healthy, but there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. And so for him at the age of 25 to get to the finals, to be playing his basketball at the level that he's playing is now is just, being consistent. And I think we all would say he led the league in scoring. And so it also is one. So now it's just a matter of being consistent. And, again, always being in the talk for MVP, because when you have one of the best players in the world, you should be always fighting for a championship.
Last row, Howard.
Howard Beck from The Ringer. Jason Beck here.
Yeah.
You touched on a couple of these things, but obviously you're a pretty young team and built around a 25-year-old star. You've got guys who just arrived, as you mentioned, a few months ago. At a time like this, I know hard to look forward, but is the next step in growth, is it just youth maturing? Is it just all these guys having more time together? Are there specific things that just maybe need to be added? Like what's the next evolution of this team? Or is it some of it just evolution within?
Yeah, I think it's just time. Being able to go through it, to get to know each other a little bit better on the court and off the court. And so I think it's the more time that these guys are around each other, the better they're going to be next year. Again, 5 months without a training camp. This season started in Abu Dhabi, and it's been going on for a long time. So for this group to spend time together, to fail, and to understand what it feels like to fail, and also to see what failure is, and then how do we get better and learn from that. And that's, I think I've got a great group of young men who will be hungry this summer and will come back ready to play at a high level.
Last question, Eddie, third row on the
That's
right.
EddieSethGomez.com. I think it was 19-18 there, and you guys had played well up to that point and got the early deficit down. What happened there when you had some empty possessions? I think they might have had a couple of steals, or you guys had a couple of turnovers, and it snowballed after that.
Yeah, it snowballed quickly. The turnovers led to, easy baskets or wide open threes, and so they took advantage of that, and we couldn't keep scoring or keep pace with them. We got good looks that just didn't go down for us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. We got PJ up next. If you have a question, raise your hand.
Hi, PJ. Joey Mastretta with Clutch Points. I was just wondering if you could, obviously it's tough right now, but if you could just put your half season you had with the Mavs, kind of a summary into words.
I think it's been great. It's been good since I got here, and I'm just excited to get better in the offseason and really play a whole season with these guys and have at it next year. So I'm super proud of obviously being here, and we made it far in the time being, but obviously we have work to do.
Dwayne Price in the middle.
Dwayne Price from Maps.com. PJ, what happened there at the end of the first and the end of the second quarter? You guys were within 1 point in the first quarter. They ended up on a 9-0 run, and then they had a 19-7 run to end the second quarter.
Turnovers. They got in transition and made shots. They made a lot of threes, and that's what happened.
On the right, Eddie.
EddieSethGomez.com. What made their defense so hard to score against? They seem to always kind of be rotating the right ways.
I think they try to make us play one-on-one and not help as much. Credit to them. They did a good job, and obviously we'll learn from it and be better. So, yeah.
Second row, Tim.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. This half season you had, this postseason run, is that the most fun you've ever had playing basketball?
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, being able to play on the biggest stages in the playoffs has been nothing but amazing, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and obviously can't wait to get better and do it again next year.
Where does improvement come, from you guys going into next season? I guess it's pretty obvious with, a pretty young core, but what does time mean and time played together mean to this team?
It means everything. We're still learning each other, and I can't wait to get back at it. Obviously, we have a lot of growing to do, a lot of maturing, and I think everybody's hungry, obviously. So I'm excited for our summer and see where we go.
First row, Mike.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Kyrie talked throughout the series about wanting to play well against the Celtics team, given the history that they had. Just why do you think he wasn't able to be as successful against his team, and what do you think he'll learn from it going forward?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously shots weren't falling for all of us. So I think we watch it, take a weekend, learn from it, and obviously be better. I think everybody's hungry, like I said earlier. So it won't be easy, or it won't be hard for us to get better. And I think obviously just us playing more with each other is going to be great for us as well.
Any other questions for PJ? Here, Bob.
Yeah, hey, PJ. You talked a lot. Folks here talked about you guys being a young team. difficult as tonight was, what does you guys as a young team take away from going against a team that's been together for 7 years on their home court and hustling like crazy to win the championship?
We learned a lot throughout the whole series. It's a chess match at the end of the day, so I mean, all the little things matter. Every little possession, every second. So I think, like I said, guys are going to be hungry, and everybody's going to remember this feeling going forward.
Thank you, PJ.
Thank you, guys.
Kyrie, Joey Mastretta with Clutch Points. Obviously a difficult loss tonight, and that goes without saying, but I wanted to ask you about the future. You guys have built a great core, you and Luka, a lot of guys around you. How confident are you in this team's future?
Very confident. I mean, that's what's a positive note that we can take from this series. Just how far we made it, and how proud of it I am of the guys, and we answered a lot of questions this year on what we were capable of doing, and now it's just about being consistent. I think, probably in the last week I said that, I wanted to be remembered as one of the best teams of this era. The last few champions have been a new one each and every year. So I see an opportunity for us to really build our future in a positive manner where, this is almost like a regular thing for us, and we're competing for championships. And, I think from a spiritual standpoint, I think I enjoyed this journey more than any other season. Just because of the redemption arc and being able to learn as much as I did about myself and my teammates and the organization and the people that I'm around. It's a lot of good people here, so it makes coming to work a lot of fun. And when you have that type of environment, I think it's easy to achieve goals that are bigger than yourself because everyone's really dialed in and having a good sense of joy about them.
Second row to the left, Tim.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. Kyrie, over the past week, Luka has talked about failure being something to learn from, to grow from. As a 12-year veteran or a 32-year-old veteran, how do you actually take failure and take those lessons and grow from them and not just let it become a cliche that's kind of said in these situations?
It starts in the summertime. It starts, early in preseason when you're developing your habits. And I think we went 0-4 in preseason to start, which wasn't the best start. But we got off to a pretty decent start to the season. And there were some injuries and some uncontrollable things that happened. But I think if you look at the overall big picture, Luke was right, and I've been saying it too, just failure, it can inspire you beyond measure. And we started off as a 5th seed and then started on the road in every series, and we were able to accomplish this, and we were able to grow as teammates and as a brotherhood here, a sisterhood here. Where we can really take that as a positive note into the summer. Failing at this stage definitely sucks. It's a bitter feeling because you want to keep playing and you feel like your best game is coming up next, and the shots that you shoot next game are coming up, and now we got to wait, I think, 2.5 months, 3.5 months to the new champion, gets a chance. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to grow with these guys in this locker room, everybody across our organization. We've been able to celebrate our wins, but also learn how to celebrate our losses too and how to grow from that. So that's the difficult part of being human. When you really love something, you really want to win, and it doesn't happen, how do you respond from that? So I think that's where we are now. But I think I could tell you pretty confidently that we'll be back in the gym pretty soon and getting ready for next year.
On the right, Tim.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Before you checked out for the last time, you hug a lot of your old teammates, the other guys on the Celtics. As you're walking back to the bench there, what's going through your mind? And obviously at the end of what was a pretty emotional series for you.
Yeah, it was emotional anyway. I mean, every series was emotional, just because I was just uncertain on how it was going to go and how we were going to respond to a little bit of adversity. We finally ran into a team where they beat us fair and square, and we weren't able to respond to a lot of their runs, and we weren't able to execute at a high level. So when I was shaking everybody's hands, that was more of a sign of respect for their journey. They've been through an incredible 5-year span of going to Game 7s or losing in the finals. So they know what this bitter feeling feels like, being up here and answering questions about what this next year hold. And I think they used everything as motivation. They were healthy. And they really kept their head down and weren't paying attention to any of the personal accolades or individual accolades. I think they just came together as a team and were okay with each person being great in their role and selflessly putting their best foot forward. So I think we learned more than anything from this series on what it takes to not only get back to this level but win at this level. And, the Celtics are the perfect example for us this season because of how much they've had to deal with in the past few years. So it's admirable, and to see did JB win Finals MVP? Yeah, that was big time to see that trophy in his hands. I think him and JT should have split it, but those two guys in particular have almost been like students and as well now becoming teachers in their own right. So to see them accomplish that, I'm really proud.
And also extremely motivated to get back to this position in the next few years with my guys and be able to win this thing.
Mike Curtis.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Kyrie, you talked about wanting to play well against the Celtics team. You're motivated, obviously, but when it comes to how you perform, was it more of them defensively, they were pressuring a lot, or was it you had a lot of shots that went in, came out, those uncharacteristic just shots? What do you attribute it to most?
I mean, basketball is a game of centimeters, man, sometimes inches. So when a ball is flying off your hand, sometimes it's going to feel good, sometimes it isn't. And, that's the maturity aspect. You got to be able to move on to the next thing, and I've been talking about that. And whether I'm playing well specifically, scoring-wise, or I'm not, there's a team aspect here that we're becoming more gelled into or dialed into. I can score 25 points, but if I don't, then we've got to be able to pick each other up, and I think that's what we're learning about each other now, where there are going to be games where the shooting is not going to go well, particularly for me or someone else on the team, and that's where we have to galvanize as a group and other players make plays and opportunities created for one another. I've been at the point of attack through most of my drives going against the Celtics one-on-one or, coming off screen. So that's what the summer is for, is just continuing to work on those things that I saw this year, the physicality, being able to adjust to it, and, by next year, be in a better position.
Howard in the back.
Howard Beck from The Ringer. Kyrie, two quick thoughts. One is just this is a team that's still pretty new to each other, pieces that just came in February, a lot of youth as well. Is the next step of evolution just simply guys being together longer, gaining that experience? And then second kind of separate thought, but you've been through this before, both the loss and the win at this level. Luka has not. He seemed pretty down when he was in here. Do you have a sense of what he's going through right now?
Yeah, what was your first question?
Just about the time together, youth, and a lot of new guys.
I would agree with that. Yeah, just time together means a lot, and failing together is not the ideal situation. But from a leadership standpoint, going through situations like that, sometimes it'll motivate you beyond things that you could imagine. And when I was a little bit younger and I was injured in 2015 and we lost, it was a team loss. It wasn't just I was injured and we could have done this or that. So that went on my finals record. I was 0-1, and then the next year we came back and won in a 3-1 comeback, and then the following year we lost against the Warriors, and I haven't been back since. So I look at it as opportunity for us to observe what we did well this year as a group, and how me and Luka could be better as the leaders of the team, few of the leaders on the team, and really just enjoy, the ups and downs of what's coming, because now we know what to expect. So this past year was a lot of newness. There was a lot of people being in new positions in terms of just the success. Success could be new for a lot of people too, but when you fail at the finals, it's not something that you want to carry the disappointment forever or on to next season. We worked extremely hard to be one of the final two teams. We didn't achieve our goal, but we achieved most of our goals. So this is just the last step that we have to get back to, and we know it's not going to be easy. We're going to go against a lot of young teams that are emerging, but we're going to get better as well, and I think this experience will carry us forth in the following series that we play next year. God willing, we make it back to the playoffs and get the chance to play our best basketball.
Last question, fourth row on the right.
Kyrie Irving with Clutch Points. You were here when Jaylen started his career here with Tatum as well. When they're going through, what they're going through, playoff failures and all that, everyone's saying break them up. Can they do it? Just how have you seen them grow from day one when you were here all the way to who they are now? Well, they don't really care if one's better than the other, considered, and they just want to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get to that point when you have no other choice but to look at your partner or your teammates and say that we're going to do this and we're going to accomplish it no matter what anyone says. The hardest thing, I would say one of the most difficult things, not the hardest thing, but one of the most difficult things in this industry is, as I've been in for 12 years, is dealing with a lot of the relationship with, sort of say social media or fans and media, and then us as players, and wanting to achieve a golden legacy, sort of say. Everybody looks at MJ as the prototypical guy. He was 6-0. Then you go down the list to Bill Russell and other great guys that have come through this league. I can name a myriad of names, but for those guys in particular, I think they have had the same trajectory or career path as some of the greatest to play the game, where they've lost early in their career, and now they're at the top of the mountain because they've earned their way there and they've been able to learn. So, again, I'm nothing short of proud of those guys, but I think this was a message to my teammates as well, that when we get this opportunity, God willing, we get this opportunity again, we work hard, it's going to be more than just our talent that's going to get us over the edge, and it's going to be more than just somebody scoring 30. It's going to take more than just scoring. It's going to take everything from you, and that's what makes this thing beautiful too. Is when you get to the top of that mountain, how do you stay motivated there? And now that they're there, I think those are questions they're going to have to answer for themselves. But for us, we got to the top of the mountain and we failed, so now we have to start at the bottom, and that should be inspiring. So grateful that I love what I do, grateful that I get to do it with people that love what they do too. So be a long summer, but looking forward to the start of next season now.
Thank you, Kyrie.
Peace. Peace. You guys be well. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Catch you guys.
He really, I felt like, put a sprint on everything, how he wanted it to be, how he wanted us to work, how he wanted us to carry ourselves, how determined he wanted us to be. And it started from there. That energy that he had translated to the assistant coaches, to us, to the training staff, everybody. And we just kind of follow suit. And I feel like this type of team is Joe Mazzulla ball. It's defending, being gritty on offense, being able to everybody be a threat on the court at the same time. And everything that he wanted to do, he was able to accomplish. He always knew when to push the buttons. He's hard. He can be a little wacky sometimes, but that's what we appreciate about him. He truly cares about us, and he cares about what it means to be a Celtic.
David Aldridge, standing on the left.
Al, as a veteran who has been through a lot of wars over a lot of years, I just wonder what it's like for you to be in this city with all of the history of this franchise and the pressure that's on guys to hang one of those banners, and how you think you guys pushed through that this year.
Yeah, the first thing you have to do when you come here is you have to embrace that pressure. And I was okay with being in that position. I was okay if we were getting criticized and we weren't getting it done, because I understood what it means playing here. And to your point, finally overcoming that and winning and putting ourselves, with the greats. This is special. Our group, we've had a lot of hardships the last few years. Last year, heartbreaker against Miami, Game 7. Year before, Golden State. It's been building up, but this team has been resilient, and we've continued to work. I'm so proud of Jaylen. I'm so proud of Jayson. Those two guys continue to take a step forward. People, all year criticizing them, all that expectation, all that pressure. They did it. They've done it at a young age. They led our group. I'm just very proud of those guys, and to put everything aside and focus on winning.
Fifth row on the left.
Al, felicidades primeramente. Me siento orgulloso de ser dominicano.
Gracias.
¿Qué se siente ser el primer dominicano en ganar la final de la NBA, y a quién le dedicas este campeonato?
Es algo muy especial para mí. La gloria yo se la doy a Dios, porque Dios me ha puesto en esta posición y yo estoy muy claro de eso. Y esto es para mi familia, ese apoyo que ha estado conmigo siempre, y también para el pueblo dominicano, porque yo entiendo que yo tengo mucha gente allá que me quiere, que me sigue, que ha estado siempre conmigo y me siento muy orgulloso de representar a todos los dominicanos. No solo allá, pero en el mundo, porque yo sé que hay mucha gente de diferentes lugares, en Europa, aquí en Estados Unidos, que me están siguiendo, y especialmente los dominicanos aquí en Boston, que han estado muy pendientes. Lawrence, Jamaica Plain, Lynn, todos esos sitios, se le quiere.
Last question in the middle.
Al, what went through your mind when Peyton hit that heave at half court?
Man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. He did that, and you just kind of take a glance at the other team, and it's one of those that it just kind of breaks your spirit, and then it just kind of fueled us. But Peyton, man, like that just sums it up. It was, so ups and downs for him not knowing what to expect, when to play, when not to play. And he is the kind of guy that he is a big-time player. And it's hard because we have a lot of guys. But, man, him stepping up, cold, ready, not afraid of the moment, taking the shot. And, man, as soon as he shot it, like, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was like, man, this dude, he's about to knock it down. Like, this is crazy. So, man, the fact that he knocked it down, like, that was huge. That was special.
Thank you, Al.
All right. Oh. Thank you. Still can't believe it.
All right, we'll take first question here on the left side. Tim?
Jayson, you guys have been through a lot over the past several years. Obviously, a lot of close calls late in the playoffs. As the final couple minutes ticked off the game and you're on the bench, going through the handshake line there with everybody, what was going through your mind?
It's a real feeling. Still hasn't really kicked in yet. Just trying, I guess, enjoy the moment. I kept saying, wow. These last 7 years have been a roller coaster, up and down. I had to listen to all the shit that people said about me. And tonight, it was worth it. Oh, my God.
John on the right side, second row.
John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. I mean, Jayson, you've pictured this, I'm sure, as a kid growing up, probably pretending to win championships on a hoop somewhere. Is there anything from that compares to this moment?
I mean, maybe getting drafted, that's something that you dream about. But this is at the top of the mountain. To be able to say we did it, that we came together and we won a championship. Banner number 18 that's been hanging over our head for so many years. To know that we're going to be engraved in history. And it still hasn't registered. I'm just still trying to process it all. But we did it. We won a championship.
Over here on the left side.
Jayson, I'm curious to know what you said to Deuce after this, but I guess I'm more curious, what did Deuce say to you?
He told me that I was the best in the world. And I said, you damn right I am.
Gary, third seat. There you go.
Jayson, I mean, how long do you think it'll take to hit you? This is a career-defining accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Say that again, please.
A career-defining accomplishment.
Please say that again.
And you have, and it's been a long 7 years. You're not 19 anymore. I mean, what's going through your mind right now? All those tough times and growing up in St. Louis and coming here and just finally getting to the top.
That it was all the sacrifice was worth it. I'm so thankful to have been in the positions that I was growing up. Thankful for my mom, thankful for my dad introducing me to basketball, my grandmother who helped raise me, all my friends and family that have supported me, every coach, every teammate that I've had. There's a lot of people that have had a hand in the success of Jayson Tatum. So I guess in this moment, I'm just very thankful for everybody that supported me in the highest of moments and in the lowest of moments. I'm very, very appreciative of that.
Matt, over here on the left, second row.
Jayson, given that this is a night you'll remember forever, what does it mean to you to have had the game that you had tonight, to not only win, but to have been aggressive and to have played the way that you played in a championship-winning game?
I mean, this is going to be a night that I'll remember for the rest of my life, from the game, the celebration, these moments. Over the last couple of years, we had some tough losses at home in the playoffs, and we've lost the NBA championship at home in front of our fans. We had a chance to beat Miami in Game 6 a few years ago and lost that one. So to have a big win, the biggest win that you could have in front of your home crowd, I felt like that was really important to go out there and do everything in my power to make sure we won this game tonight.
Ramona, left side, fifth row.
Hey, Jayson, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. I know you've talked a lot about Kobe Bryant as one of your idols and somebody you pat in your game after and your motivation after. Now, and once you finally win a championship, now that you can say, I know what it took, right? What did it actually take? Was there something from Kobe that you learned? Was it just something you learned on your own throughout this journey? What did it actually take to get over that hump?
It took being relentless. It took, being on the other side of this and losing in the finals and being at literally the lowest point in a basketball career that you could be. To next year, to the following year, thinking that was going to be the time and come up short again. So, I mean, people have said it before, but coming up short and having failures makes this moment that much better. Because you know what it feels like to lose. You know what it feels like to be on the other side of this and be in a locker room and hearing the other team celebrate and having them celebrate on your home floor. Like, that was devastating. And now, to elevate yourself in a space that all your favorite players are in, right? Everybody that they consider greats or legends have won a championship, and all the guys I looked up to won a championship, multiple championships. So now I can like walk in those rooms and be a part of that. It's a hell of a feeling. This is more. I dreamed about what it would be like, but this is 10 times better.
Cassidy, last question in the back.
Cassidy Hubbard, ESPN. Jayson, when Jaylen won the Finals MVP, the first thing he did was look at you and said, "We did this together." What did that mean to you?
First of all, congrats to him. Well deserved. Extremely happy for him. This is a hell of an accomplishment. The main goal for us was to win a championship. We didn't care who got Finals MVP. I know that I need him through this journey, and he needs me. So it was great to see him have that moment and share that moment with him. I'm extremely happy for him. Well deserved. That was big time. He earned that.
Thank you. Coach will be coming in next. Go John, first question on the right side, third row or second row.
Joe, John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I guess, first of all, you've been so intense throughout this whole thing. What does it feel like to accomplish the goal?
It feels good. I think the most important thing, something that's really been going through my mind throughout this process is you can't lose sight of the people that came before us. And I want to make sure every person that's worked for the Celtics, that's played for the Celtics, that didn't win, knows that their work and what they've done hasn't gone unnoticed or it doesn't play a part in where we're at today. It can be so easy when you work for this organization and you don't win that the work that people put in just gets brushed over or gets ignored. And when I first got here, the staff, Brad's coaching, the staff that they had, the foundation that they built with these guys when they were young, the foundation of what we have is one of the reasons why we're here today. And so I think that's one of the first things that came to mind was just because we won this doesn't mean what the people have done before us isn't just as important.
Fifth row on the left.
It's been Fox Sports. The Payton shot, what did that mean for you guys as a team? And did you put him in specifically for that?
Yes. Payton's one of the best competitors. He's one of my favorite people in the world. Just the way he competes, the professionalism, and just for his ability to take pride in stuff like that. He's really grown as a player this year to becoming a well-rounded player on both ends of the floor, and he won us games. And I think he won us moments. And as the playoffs go on, obviously sub-patterns change and things change, but those guys have to win moments of games for you, and Payton did that twice for us, and that is just as important as any other plays that happened throughout the series and in the playoffs alone. And I got a huge heart for him.
Standing on your left, Tim.
Joe, so much of what you believe in is sort of sticking with what you guys do and consistently doing it over and over again. What has it meant to you to see your group do that throughout the course of the season and come back from the way last year ended and cap it off the way you guys have tonight?
Yeah, it really starts with them. You can't have a philosophy or a way of playing if you don't have a group of guys that are willing to buy into it and willing to be disciplined for it. And quite honestly, this group of guys that's been through so much in the league, they know what it takes. And so it's more about that. When you have a group of guys that have an understanding of what it takes using the experiences that you've been through, and that to me is more than anything. So it was a joy watching the guys just grow as a team throughout the year, but also really work at it. There's a group of guys in that locker room that decided they wanted to win on day one, and they worked at it every single day. And so credit to them.
And what did it mean to you guys to have Kristaps fight to get on the court the way he did and give you guys the minutes he was able to?
That was awesome. It's a huge credit to him. Like I said, I know he's been in and out in the playoffs, but he's worked his ass off trying to get into play as much as he could. And it just says about the team. Everyone's going to do whatever it takes to win. And even though he wasn't 100%, he said he wanted to play, and he knew he could give us something. And I thought the minutes that he gave us were valuable. So it just speaks to who he is, and it speaks to the locker room.
We're going to go Jay, fourth row on the right. John, then Jay in the back, and then Kristaps is going to come up.
Coach, as you guys were putting up historical numbers in the regular season as far as point differential, efficiency, top two on both ends of the floor, I wonder how important was that to you as an analytical person in regards to sort of checking boxes and building towards where you are now?
Those were actual numbers. We live in an expected world, so we didn't pay much attention to the actual numbers. But to me, it was just paying attention more to the process of what we were doing. And there were obviously some things that we had to improve upon from last year analytically to make up for some of the stuff that we lost. And the guys bought into that. So to me, it was just more of the process, to making sure we're playing the right way, making sure we're attacking the game analytically in the right way, but also having the open-mindedness and the discipline to kind of do some of the other stuff. So I thought it was a good balance.
Jay, standing in the back left.
You got the job under pretty crazy circumstances last season. You faced criticism. You had calls for your job even at times last year. So how have these two seasons challenged you? How have they changed you, and how have they rewarded you?
I feel like it's going to be like that for the rest of my career, as it should be. I think just having an understanding that praise and criticism are both just as dangerous if you don't handle them well. And I think we talked about that as a team this year. Winning is just as dangerous as losing if you don't handle it well. And I think our guys handled winning the right way by, whether we won or lost, we just moved on to the next game. So, and it's Boston. Like, we wouldn't want it any other way. And I think the ownership and the responsibility to give back to the franchise, give back to the city, give back to it, that's just part of it. And so I think, but you need it. Like, you need that. You need criticism. You need praise. You need expectations. All those things go into making who you are as a person, making who you are as people, as an organization. So just have an understanding that they're never going to go away. If someone tells you good job, that's just as dangerous as someone telling you suck. But you need both of them in order to get to where you want to get to. And there's no place I'd rather be.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Porzingis will be right up. We'll go first question here in the third row on your left.
Hey, Kristaps, what did it take for you to get out there tonight? What was your desire to do so, and what does this championship mean to you?
Yeah. And like from day one when I came in, I just my mindset was I'm going to give everything to this team and to this city to try to win a championship here, because I knew these guys have already been so close. And yeah, and once I got hurt, it was a heartbreaking moment for me. I didn't even want to accept the truth. It was kind of no way it happened, right? But yeah, tonight was the night I was like, listen, I'm gonna give everything I have, and yeah, I'm just super happy to be a part of this and to give something to the team. And man, I'm super thankful for the support I've gotten from the fans, and tonight the arena was electric, and it's been unbelievable to play in front of these fans.
Tim, standing on the left.
Kristaps, what was sort of the process today in particular of getting yourself on the court, and sort of when did you realize or decide that you were going to make sure you were out there today?
You know what, since last game, I've been thinking about how can I get my body ready for next game, no matter how it is. And today I was like, I'm gonna try to everything possible to get out there. So from this morning, I was preparing myself that I will go out there. Yeah, the medical staff was unbelievable support for me and got me back out there somehow. And man, I'm super thankful for them. And yeah, I gave everything I could. And man, it feels great to be a champion.
Standing on your right.
Kristaps over here. Wall. Yes. The reputation of this team is that it scores, shoots, spreads the floor. You could make the argument, though, that you won this series with defense and toughness. Can you talk about toughness? And, obviously you watched a lot of games here the last couple of months on the bench. Can you talk about how toughness really mattered?
Yeah, we have a super composed team. We don't have any loud guys. We're super confident, but also down to earth people in this organization and in this roster. And man, we were everybody had the mindset of we were gonna do whatever it takes, each of us individually, to get the job done. We want to win a championship for this city.
Back right, Adam.
And everything, we did everything possible for that, and now we get the fruits from our labor.
Back right, Adam.
Throughout this whole year with us, it seems like with you guys too, Joe is always focused on don't look past the next day, don't look past the next day. I'm just curious now that kind of there is no next day, how he reacted, and just your thoughts on his general, the job he did with this team, getting them to this point.
There is no what?
No next day, like
next day.
Yeah, like it's over. You guys won championship.
Right. Yeah, finally, man. Like it was a long road to get here, to be honest. And to be the last team standing, it feels amazing. Like all that work paid off. When, as I said, like when I was still on the stage and stuff, like it still felt surreal. Like I couldn't, and us as a team, I think we couldn't really like settle into that. But once we got back to the locker room and started celebrating, I think that's when everybody realized, like, yo, we actually did it. We did it, and Joe's an animal.
In the front and center.
Kristaps, all year you guys have talked about the importance of Al and how much he means to you guys. What was it like to see him finally raise that trophy?
Yeah, no, great question. Al's an unbelievable teammate, unbelievable person. Everybody loves him. He's a great leader, and knowing how he has been chasing this for so long in his career and finally get it done and playing at a high level at his age, man, he's. I don't even know what words I can use to describe him. Everybody loves him, and he gave everything to this team, and he deserves it more than anybody.
John, third row on the right.
Kristaps, now that it's over, can you be honest about how bad the injury was?
No. No, obviously, like what was put out, it was the truth. It was like something torn, and then my tendon is just out of place, and it like pretty much hurts on every step. Like I would take a walk in Dallas, and my leg would swell up. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna play if I'm gonna play, but my mindset was always like, I'm gonna try to find a way how I can manage this, and yeah, somehow I got it going for this game, and a lot of it was for sure like the adrenaline from just playing at the Garden and playing in front of our fans, and having that opportunity to close it out, and man, I got it going.
Last one, front left here.
Kristaps, I'm sure you've played this moment over in your head 100 times, 1,000 times in your life. How is this moment different from what you were anticipating?
Good question. I don't know how to answer it yet, to be honest. I think I'm going to need a little bit of time, and then I can kind of reflect. Because right now I'm just so in the moment and enjoying this. Man, this team, like, it's just a special team, and like everybody gave whatever they could for us to get here. And right now we're just so in the moment. And I think once I'm back home and everything settles, I'll be able to compare it better.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We'll go Chris, third row on the left side here, first on 2.
Jrue, how would you describe, the dominance of this run? 16-3. This is the highest win percentage a Celtics championship team has ever had, surpassing the '86 team. How impressive was the run?
Yeah, I think it was impressive. I feel like what people expected us to do, or even doubted us to do, we did. So, shout out to this team and this organization. We did it together, and that was the only way that we could do it was together.
Front row here left.
Jrue and Nick Alley, Field Level Media. First of all, congratulations. You guys have a lot of history in those rafters. You added some more tonight, or eventually will, once the banner goes up. What do you want people to remember about this team, 50, 60 years from now when they look back on this run?
Man, that we did it together. I hope that when people watch us play, they see the joy that we play with, that we love playing together, and we got it done together, and I feel like that's the most important thing.
Jrue, what does it mean to you to see Al Horford become an NBA champion and to help make that happen?
Yeah, it's just crazy to kind of look back. Before I was trying not to make that happen, and then obviously once I became his teammate, it was like one of the ultimate goals of this season. Knowing the type of person that Al is, knowing the leader that he is, even off the court, the father that he is, just an all-around great person and great human. I'd run through a brick wall for him. So
I'm so happy that he got one.
Tanya, fourth row.
Jrue, Tanya, Ganguly, New York Times. Does this one feel different than the other one?
No, it doesn't. Winning is also always great. When you do it with people that you love to do it with, it feels great. And when you see your teammates celebrating and jumping on each other and throwing champagne, there's nothing like it.
Front right.
Jrue, when you joined this team, you spoke about being a part of a championship caliber organization. You said, I'm a Boston Celtic. Now that you are one of the Boston Celtics who has risen a banner in the rafters, like, how does that feel, like, reflecting on where you were at when you got traded to Portland and then 2 days later got to here? And
Again,
we're
it's
excited
been
about being here.
Yeah, it's been a journey, you know. And I think just being able to, I don't know, maybe reflect on it right now, it's crazy. It seemed like it was yesterday. Sitting up there with Wick and them introducing me and kind of just handing me the jersey and everything. And then fast forward to now. It's like insane. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm so happy that Brad gave me that call to come through, and JT texted me, hit me up, talking about come on, champ. So it's been a hell of a journey.
Shane, you got one? Front right.
Andrew, Shane Allen Forbes. You've been on the other side of the Jayson and Jaylen connection for many years, and now winning a championship with them and for them. What's it like seeing that connection, that brotherhood?
It's great. I think I've spoken on this plenty of times, but they get scrutinized so much, and they get so much pressure put on them from for not winning or making it to the Eastern Conference Finals 8 years in a row, or even making it to the finals and not getting over that hump. But I feel like people finally see the relationship that they have. They see that from the beginning they've always done it together. They've never compared against each other. They've always been joyful and happy for each other. So it's been great to experience on this side, and to get this win, man. It's just, hopefully it's a burden off of their shoulders, but another burden is doing it again. So,
last question in the front.
Jrue, you've talked all year about how different Joe is compared to coaches you've had in the past. How much did he help shape your success this year?
He's done a great job. He's definitely elevated my game, had me look kind of outside of myself and bring something different, you know. On previous teams where maybe I had to score more or I handled the ball more, here it was more about being available and knocking down corner threes and rebounding and doing things that help this team because of the talent that we have. And, you know, he really opened my eyes to that. And from the beginning, really just made it known that whatever it takes, as long as it takes, we got to get it done. And I'm not the only one sacrificing. Everybody on this team sacrificed something.
Thank you. Just waiting on Jaylen. All right. I'm going to go first question here on the second row on the left.
Jaylen, knowing what Bill Russell meant to you, and to have this moment in your life and your career tied to him in that way, what does that mean?
To be honest, I can't even put it into words. Just Bill Russell and what he's meant for me through my Boston journey, and his spirit, everything that he stood for. Just for this to be the Bill Russell MVP award, and it just, I got nothing, man. I don't even know what to say. It's unreal.
Standing on your right.
Jaylen, Bill Burt, Eagle Tribune over here. A year ago against Miami, you sort of lost a series that was played this way. This was a gritty, tough series, less three-point shots and all the offensive glory. Can you talk about the difference and why you guys were built and ready for this run as opposed to a year ago?
I think we learned. From all our mistakes, all of our adversity. I think it's made us stronger, made us tougher. And all season, you could see it. We started from the jump. We made all the sacrifices. We played both ends of the ball at a high level. We didn't skip any steps. And this was the result. But all of those experiences led to here. All of those moments where we came up short. We felt like we let the city down. We felt like we let ourselves down. All of that compiled is how we get to this moment. So, and it makes it feel even that much better that we had to go through all the journey, the heartbreak, the embarrassment, the loss to get to the mountaintop. So it's great. And shout out to all the supporters and the city of Boston.
Bill on the right, second row.
Jaylen, congratulations. After you were named MVP in Indiana, you said you were surprised. How did you feel this time? Were you even, I don't know if there's a word beyond surprise, but how did you feel?
I can't even put into words the emotions. It's just I'm blessed and I'm grateful. This was a full team effort. We had a great team. My teammates were great. Allowed me to lead us on both ends of the ball, and we came out and just performed on our home floor. It was just amazing, and it could have gone to anybody. It could have gone to Jayson. Jayson, I can't talk enough about his selflessness. I can't talk enough about his attitude and his just how he approached not just this series or the finals, but just the playoffs in general. And we did it together as a team, and that was the most important thing.
Chris here on the left side, third row.
Jaylen, you're very intentional both now and earlier in making sure that you acknowledged JT. Why is that important to you? And also, you reflected a lot during the playoffs about your journey and what you heard from people. And what does this mean to you in that context as well?
Just our growth together. We've been through a lot. We've been playing together for 7 years now. We've been through a lot. The losses, the expectations, the media. Have said all different types of things. We can't play together. We were never gonna win. We heard it all. But we just blocked it out, and we just kept going. I trusted him. He trusted me, and we did it together. So, to get to this point, and share that experience with JT is just awesome. I can't, it's just amazing, and it feels great.
Same row, next seat over. Go ahead.
Jaylen, how does it feel to silence doubters after last year against the Miami Heat, the way you guys lost? There was a lot of doubt about the team, maybe even about your game. You didn't make an All-NBA team this year, and now you win the Eastern Conference Final MVP. You're an NBA champion. You're an MVP of the finals. Do you feel at all vindicated?
If you would have asked me that maybe a year ago, I probably would say yeah. But just at the point that I got to right now, it feels great. But any of the personal awards, it is what it is. Yeah, the doubters, they may be quieted now, but they'll be back. You know, they'll probably be back next year with something else to say. So we just all embrace that moment the same and get after it yet again.
On your right, Gary, third row.
Jaylen. Gary Ross, Boston Globe. From the night you were drafted, and a lot of Celtic fans had not heard of you coming out of Cal. Like, they just hadn't. I mean, there was kind of this unknown.
Go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears. And from that journey to being doubted and all of what they said coming out of college, and then the transformation of your game, then signing the contract this summer and all of what you heard, can you kind of encapsulate winning Eastern Conference and Finals MVP and being on top of the world?
I can't. I absolutely can't, man. Just the story and the journey is awesome. You know, just being drafted here in Boston. Like, a lot of the people probably didn't watch me play out in the Pac-12 at Cal. So, you know, it led to a lot of people, you know, feeling a way about that. And, you know, I just came in and kept my head down and told myself I'm going to just keep working. And, you know, to be here in this moment now, through all the years, you know, through all the doubt, through all of the ups and downs, through all of the adversity, through all of the everything, you know, it just makes the story that much sweeter. But I can't even put it into words. Like, it just feels great.
Front on your right, Dave.
Jaylen over here. You know how long it's felt for you to go through 8 years for this moment. Double it and add one, and that's what Al Horford had to go through to get to this moment. How do you feel for him as a teammate, and just how can you sum up what his role was on your guys' journey?
Yeah, nobody deserved it more than Al, man. Al has just been a great, not just leader on the court, but off the court as well. Like, just a mentor, somebody I know I can talk to about life, and is going to give me great advice about family, about, you know, finances, about just life, adversity, whatever the case is. Just Al has just been that guy for me and for us. And, like, just his performance all season long. Like, Al is 37, 38 years old, and we leaned on him so much, probably too much, for, you know, his age and where he's at. And he just delivered, you know, so consistent, so disciplined with his body, never complains, you know what I mean? The only thing he does is add to winning. So for him, like, great teammate. It's been an honor to be by his side. And, you know, Al Horford is a real life legend and hero. So it's been great to be his teammate.
Second row over here on your left.
Hey, Jaylen, Karen Garegian from Mass Live. Hi. I was wondering if you felt that the collection, the group that you have, is built for sustained success going forward, or is that just too hard to predict?
I think we have an opportunity. I think we definitely have a window. We take it one day at a time. You know, we definitely got to make sure we stay healthy. But, you know, we enjoy the summer, enjoy the moment, and then we get right back to it next year.
Second row on your right.
Jaylen, all season you've been pretty adamant on job's not done. We're going to keep going. Next game, last game didn't matter. The job's done. There's nothing left to do. I guess other guys have said it hasn't really sunk in yet, but, like, how does that feel knowing there is nothing else to prepare for and you did it?
I mean, it still kind of feels unreal. It feels like it's another game or something like tomorrow. But, you know, I can't tell you enough about our group and our coaching staff. They were great all season long. They prepared us for these moments. We had an excellent game plan in the finals. And then all of the guys contributed. For example, like Peyton Pritchard. Like, unreal, right? Unreal, like, just comes in the game, ain't been in the game, and just drains one from half court. And that dude's he's a fucking legend, man. Shout out to Peyton Pritchard.
Last question here in the front left.
Jaylen, yesterday you had your grandma on your shirt. You had a big hug with mom on stage. We're brothers here. You're building juice with your cousins and your family. And your friends. What does it mean to do all this with family by your side?
It means a lot. I wish my grandmother was here with me to see this moment. But I woke up from my pregame nap, and I had a dream, and my grandma was in the dream, and she gave me a hug this afternoon. And I just knew everything was going to be all right. But I wish she could be here. But she was so important and pivotal in my life. And it's just awesome. I know she would be proud of me. So, Grandma, I know she was watching. And I love you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Diane Varnado. Spell it Dianne. Varnado, Varnado.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Safe travels.
This is tough right now. Can you just talk about what the conversation was like here after the game? A lot to be proud of with this season as well.
I mean, stay motivated. Main thing. Pretty much it, though.
How can you all use this experience, as hard as it is right now, to build going forward? Because this course is going to be here for a while now.
I mean, usually motivation. We want to get back to this position as much as possible. So, pretty much it.
What will you remember about this team and the resiliency it showed, especially when you became part of the group and taken off from there? Such a huge change for your career this season, and I know these guys mean a lot to you.
I mean, just remember how much, we fight night in, night out. Even with the lapses and adversity that we've been through, we've always stuck together. That's the main thing, keeping each other motivated.
What memories are you going to remember most from this season? Is there anything, what the relationships or the bonds or the moments?
The only memory that's sticking right now is we just lost this game. It's motivation for next year. So,
what is the plan for the off season for you? Are you going to take some time to kind of get away from this for a little bit? What is your plan?
Be better. That's the motto. Be better.
Thank you, Danny. Here with Maxi Kleba. Maxi, how do you put this finals experience into words after Game 5?
I mean, obviously not the outcome that we wanted, so congratulations to Boston. The rest, I think, need a couple days, just think about what happened. We can still be proud of the season, but obviously right now in the moment, not the result that we wanted.
Obviously the agony of defeat, but the message in the locker room, I would imagine a lot to be proud of this season. What was Jason Kidd's kind of message to you guys?
Keep your heads up. I think we had a great season. We can be proud of what we have accomplished, and every team, in most cases, needs a couple of chances. So we just got to keep building on that and come back stronger.
What do you feel like you can take from this finals experience into next season?
Just attention of detail, the physicality of the game, and how it should be approached every game.
Here with Mavericks rookie Derek Lively, not a rookie anymore. What can you say about this run? I know it came up short, but hopefully some positives to take from your first season.
We could see how good of a team we are. We were able to come, make it this far. Sadly, we're on the wrong side of history, but we're together. We're going to be a team day in and day out, no matter what's the result of the game. I'm proud of my brothers, and I'm proud of everybody for being able to get this far and stay together.
Obviously, the agony of defeat in the locker room, a lot of long faces, but what can you take from the message that Jason Kidd shared after the game and apply it to the offseason?
We clearly can see our weaknesses. We can look at our games, we can look at film, and we can clearly see what they're allowing us to do, which players is allowed to shoot, which players are allowed to drive the ball. And, just working on our weaknesses and turning our weaknesses into strengths.
You often see in the NBA it takes getting to this point to eventually break through in the finals. The Celtics themselves a couple of years ago. Do you think there's something to that you have to kind of go through this process at least once?
You could say that. You could definitely say that you need to be able to taste defeat to, understand the value of victory. But, either way you look at it, it's a terrible feeling. Me and my teammates, we're going to be together throughout this time, and we're just going to be able to just lean on each other. There's always going to be a lot of eyes, a lot of things pointed at us, a lot of things, people said we should have done better, we should have done this, that, and the fourth. But, we're human. So I'm proud of my brothers, and I'm proud of where we've been able to get to.
Derek, thank you.
You personally, how much have you grown this year as a player? I mean, how much can being in for a year do to a player? How much?
I feel like this year's been like 3 years for sure. I feel like I've learned a lot as a person. I've learned a lot about on the court and off the court. What it means to be a role model, what it means to, give it your all.
And then for you as a team, what will you remember about how this group turned it on at the trade deadline? You guys were unbelievable down the stretch and really became a tight group.
Just believing in each other, trusting the pass, trusting the next pass, and trusting the person behind you. We've definitely become a close-knit family, and that's what's gotten us this far, and I know it's just only going to rise in the next coming years.
How much is this going to drive you? I mean, I can imagine how much it's going to drive you.
It's going to drive me, that for sure. I'm just going to use this as fuel to the fire.
I want to ask you about the offseason, just your plans. Are you going to get away from a bit? Are you going to be hanging here? What's the plan of attack? Or if you haven't even thought that far.
I haven't thought that far. I'm just here. I've been focused on everything that I possibly can with the finals. I haven't been thinking about after the finals. I got some decisions to make, but my home's in Dallas. There's nowhere I feel better off besides my home in Dallas.
And then you personally, your game, what do you think? I mean, is outside shooting something you think you'll start working on at some point from a personal standpoint? What kind of things do you think you'll try and improve on this offseason?
Just being more of a force on the offensive end to take some relief off of my guys here. It doesn't matter if it's shooting, doesn't matter if it's playmaking, doesn't matter if it's me bringing the ball up the court. Just working the little intangibles that, people are going to call weaknesses this year and trying to make them the strengths by next year.
What are the pieces that you think this team needs to push it over the top?
I feel like we got all our pieces. We just didn't execute the way we needed to. We didn't have the same drive. We didn't have the same desperation that we did in Game 4, and that's what really cost us this game. I feel like me and my teammates, we did the best we possibly could. I'm proud of my teammates. I'm proud of my family. I wouldn't say we're missing a link. I think we got the whole chain link, but, we just ended up coming up a little short.
About that Celtics team, do you just feel like you ran into a team that was on a mission, or was it just outcomes didn't go y'all's way?
Just, the little things, they won a lot of the little battles. A lot of things that, we were trying to control got out of our hands. I wouldn't say that we just ran into a force. We ran into ourselves. We ran into our own weaknesses, not their strengths.
Like the second chance points and offensive rebounds.
Exactly. We were trying to make that. That was our thing last game. They took it to heart and they made it theirs this game. They're a great team. They've been in this position a while, so you can understand how they've been through it and what they think and how their mindset is. But, all we can do is learn.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Let's go to the middle.
Luka, can you put your feelings into words? Obviously, tough loss, but you guys really had a great season. And I know it's not easy to think about right now, but just what's going through your head right now?
Nothing. Sad we lost. Not specific.
Luka.
Now that the series is over, how much were you hurting?
It doesn't matter if I was hurt. How much was I hurt? I was out there, tried to play, but I didn't do enough.
Let's go Tim in the front.
Luka, obviously, it's fresh right now, but so much has changed with this organization since the end of last season. Your first finals appearance. How do you feel about kind of the state of the franchise now and the opportunities going into the future for this group?
I feel great. We did some great moves. I would say, we've been together for 5 months. I'm proud of every guy that stepped on the floor, all the coaches, all the people behind. Obviously, we didn't win finals, but we did have a hell of a season, and I'm proud of every one of them.
Third row on the right, Eddie.
Luka, what did the Celtics defense do that made things so difficult for you guys to score?
They were physical a lot. They have great defenders.
Were they just? It was not more one-on-one or help or closing out. What?
Just everything. They're a great team. That's what they do.
There's a quick turnaround time before the Olympic qualifying tournament. What do you?
I don't want to talk about what's next, man. I have some decisions to make. Just trying to get a little bit healthier. We'll talk. We have interviews in 2 days, right? So I'll give you an answer to that.
Any other questions? Steve? Right behind you.
Steve Ashburn at NBA.com. Luka, what do you take away from this that will help your team get back here next year, ideally, and win it next time? Is there any particular takeaways from being in the finals?
Right now, I don't really know. It's not what I'm thinking, but they're a great team. They've been together for a long time, and they have to go through everything. So we just got to look at them. See how they play, maturity, and they have some great players. We can all learn from that, and we got to fight next season.
Mike in the front.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Luke, I saw you and Kyrie had a moment of embrace there at the end of the game. Just interested, what can you share about the conversations you guys had?
Just stay together, man. I think just having Kyle on my team, on our team, is unbelievable. Just helping. We said we'll fight together next season, and we're just gonna believe.
Any other questions? Excellent.